Hi, this is week 4 of enrichment. It's going to be a quick summary on how to graph sine, cosine, tangent using the unit circle. I know I didn't go over degrees or coterminal angles or a lot in trig, but this will be my last meeting for enrichment in Algebra 2. Will be Thursday, May 7th. And then, so I won't be posting any new enrichment assignment on week 5, but if you complete this during week 5, I'll look it over and respond back. So I'm going to start with an x and y, and there's 1, here's -1. So I have this grid, here's 0, 0 right in the middle. First I'm going to graph sine. Sine of x, or we usually write it like this, sine of x. So these tick marks right here represent degrees. So I'm going to start at 0 degrees, so this is your x, which is degrees. And then your y is your value on the unit circle. So this is the value on the unit circle. So we're going to be going 0, 45, 90. So I broke up the circle into equal parts. So we're not going to be doing the 30, 60 parts, but we are going to do every 45. So there's a tick mark for each one of those. Excuse me. So let's start for sine. Sine is the y value. So for sine at 0 degrees, the y is 0. So the first mark is right here, 0, 0. Okay. Then I'll write 0 degrees. We're at 0, 0. I won't keep that up because I don't have much room, but I'll show you guys as I go. Okay, and the next one is 45 degrees. And at 45 degrees, the y is square root of 2 over 2. So the point would be, so 0, 0 is the point. So this point would be 45 degrees. And then your y is square root of 2 over 2. Now, if you use the calculator, square root of 2 over 2 is about 0.71. So this is 45 degrees, our next point. And 0.71, I mean, half is about right there. So I'm going to say 0.71 is right. Nope, that's too far. 0.71 would be about right here. So there's half, so it'll be about right there. Okay? The next one is 90 degrees. At 90 degrees, it's at 1. So that jumps up right there. And then at 135 degrees, your y is positive square root of 2 over 2 again. So it's 0.71 again. So that one should match right there. And then at 180 degrees, which is my next tick mark, your y is 0. So there's 1/2 of my y. I'm going to draw it in. Sorry, it should be much smoother, and it shouldn't be as pointy. It's not a parabola. It should be a smooth curve. My pen at home is not as accurate as my pen at school. Okay, so after 180 degrees, we go to 225. At 225, it's negative square root of 2 over 2. I'm looking at the y value. So that'd be a negative 0.7. So at this one, I'm going to put right there. So these are just the first 2 points. I stopped writing those. And then after 225 is 270 degrees. At 270 degrees, the y is -1. So the next one, I go to -1. And then at 315 degrees, the y is negative 0.71. If you take square root of 2 divided by 2. And then at 360 degrees, which is right here, we come back and my y is, instead of drawing arrows because it's difficult for me, I'm just drawing lines. So my y is right here. So I guess I put one too many tick marks. So then it goes down, curves around, and goes back up. And then it would continue on that way. Likewise, it would continue on this way. Oops. But the main part of the curve, maybe a highlighter will be better because it'll be wider. Maybe I should use a wider pen. the main part of the sine curve is right here. So sine is not symmetrical. Sine is not symmetrical, but it's pretty even. I don't know when I'm drawing why it goes down to a lighter yellow, but it's a pretty even graph. It starts on 0, 0, and then, let me get a different pen, it goes up. It stays positive for the first left part of it, okay? So I'm going to use, I think that's a star. I'm going to use a star. It starts right here. I mean, it could go left all the way and it could go right all the way. But usually a typical sine graph starts on 0, 0, and that was part of the assignment I gave you last week. And then it goes positive the first half till it gets to 180 degrees. Then it goes negative and it ends back at 0. So it's very not symmetrical. I got to stop saying that. You can't flip it, but it's very even that I have a half on positive and then half on negative. So that is the sine graph. So let's go on, and our next one we're going to graph is cosine. So for cosine, I'll use a different color. Let's use blue, I guess. Blue. Okay. So cosine is usually cosine of x, or cosine. Now cosine is a similar, so cosine is the x value. Cosine is similar to sine, that it is a curve, and we're going to go around to the 45-degree marks, just like sine. And we have 1 over here, and we have -1 over here. And it goes on infinitely to the negative side of x and to the positive side. And this is going to be degrees. So just like we did with sine. Okay. So cosine of x, though, it's the x value. So cosine doesn't start on 0, it starts on 0, 1. Oops. Oh, I don't know what I'm doing there. 0, 1. It starts right here. The first point is 0, 1. Then it goes to 45 degrees. It goes to 0.71. So it's kind of at the same point that sine is. But instead of going up, it's starting at 1 and it's going down. And then the next one at 90, it's on 0. Sorry, I didn't mean that. Drop a bit. So at 90, it goes down to 0. And then at 135, it's at, is that right? Oh, x. Negative 0.71. So negative 0.71. So it dips down over here. And then at 180, it gets down to -1. So it's going down, down, down from 1 to -1, longest part right there at the start. And then at 225, it's -0.71 again, so it's coming back up now. And at 270, it's at 0. So I'll draw it in just a second. And then at 315, it's at positive 0.71. And then at 360, it's back at 1. So this is going to be a bad sine graph. I'm so sorry. I did better ones last time, but it's going to look like that. That is a typical cosine. I said sine, sorry. Cosine curve. This one is symmetrical because if you were to fold it half right there, and it's more curved. I'm going to try to draw right here. It's more like that, but not as flat on the bottom. I'm really doing a poor job. Okay, so that is a cosine graph. Cosine starts at 1 and goes down. So as sine is more even, cosine starts with the valley part. And just like sine, and just like any other graph that doesn't have an end, it goes that way, which isn't as steep, it goes down more. And then it goes back down this way, infinitely. It's a wave. Okay? So now let's get to tangent. So tangent I'm going to do in red on purpose. So tangent of x, tangent. And as you know, SOHCAHTOA, tangent is sine over cosine, or y over x. Okay? So tangent, we're going to have to do some division. I think I quickly showed you guys I'm not sure if I showed you how to divide, maybe, I don't know. I don't know if I had that in the video last week. The quick way to divide tangent. So, tangent, we're going to start again at 0 degrees. And all of these, instead of degrees on the x, you could have radians. You could have 0, pi over 4, pi over 2, 3 pi over 4, pi, 2 pi. So all these cycles of the wave graph could be radians or they could be degrees. So they could go by this one or this one, but today we're going by degrees. So tangent. Tangent is y over x. So right here, this is 0 over 1. At 0 degrees, it's 0 divided by 1, which is 0. At 45 degrees, it's these two divided by each other, which are the same thing, so it's 1. At 45 degrees, it's 1. At 90 degrees, it is y divided by x. It doesn't exist because I cannot divide by 0. So at that point, we draw this thing called an asymptote, sorry. And so this kind of goes like this, and there's another asymptote on this left side. Then at 135, it's y over x, which is the same thing, but it's going to be negative 1. Because square root of 2 over 2 is just 1's negative. At 180, it's y over x, which is 0 over negative 1, which is 0. At 225, y over x, those are the same things, so it's 1. So then it jumps up to 1. At 270, it's y over x. So again, at 270, it doesn't exist because I cannot divide negative 1 by 0. So we're sine and cosine, so it keeps on going that way. Really close to that, goes up this way. It's like a cubed graph in between, which mine does not look like that, but it kind of curves like that. If you have a graphing calculator or you go to Desmos online, you could graph tangent of x. Okay, so I'm right here, 270, now 315, neg 1's negative, so it's going to be at negative 1. And then at 360, it gets back to 0. And then if I go around the circle one more time, 360 plus 45 is 405. It's back up at 1. And then you could probably guess it. Over here, 90 plus 360 or 450. It's dashed like that. So that is tangent of x. Now, I encourage you to go to an online calculator or graphing calculator and graph it and see how smooth and better it looks. Some calculators won't put the asymptotes in there. You just got to know it doesn't cross over. It just gets really close to that line, but it won't cross over that degree mark or that radian. Okay, this is video 1 of week 4 enrichment. Please watch video 2 now. Thanks. Bye.